I never went to college. I
You
don't
know,
know.
they're all
Okay.
in church.
All right, we are live with the final tribal council for Trinity Survivor Mementos. After around 40 days, we are here with our final two. We've got Ned and we've got Rob. All right, so we're going to begin with some opening speeches. Now, Rob, since you won final immunity, you will choose who goes first and who goes second. The order you choose for opening speeches will be reversed for closing statements.
We'll pick Ned's declassified school survival guide to go first.
All right, so Ned, you'll give your speech first, and then Rob, you'll go after. And then we'll go in what order the jurors want to go in.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I don't even know my speech yet, so let me just like
Yeah.
All right, Ned, whenever you're ready.
All right. Hey guys, good to see y'all again. I can tell by some of your faces that you're not exactly thrilled to. Yeah, I see you, Grace. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I want to thank y'all for like everything you did to make this season fun. It was really awesome. Like seriously, just getting to talk to y'all and made my semester of work a lot more entertaining than it probably should have been. Um, I want to apologize to everyone that I betrayed, which is all of you. And I'm hoping that you will consider what I have to say at Tribal, because based on a few people's reactions, like the latest jurors, I have a feeling that people don't really think I did a ton, but I'm really hoping that you'll ask me actual questions because I have a lot to say. I've played this game with my cards close to my chest, and that's the only reason I'm here. After being left out of the Michael vote, honestly, I can say that I basically controlled the merge. I know it might not look like it to a lot of you, but I know what I did, and I know the relationships I had with y'all and the votes I controlled. And the only difference between me and Bobby's game is I controlled a lot of things. I didn't brag about it at Tribal because I was either at work or asleep, and I'm consider myself a pretty humble person. So I'm hoping that y'all will listen to what I have to say, and I hope that you haven't already made up your minds yet, either between me or Bobby, because I want you to give us both a fair chance. Yeah, I set out to play like a silent assassin. I feel like I did that. I feel like I played that card very well. I created the alliance with me and Bobby at the beginning of the merge, and my goal was to not only get myself to the end game, but to bring them to the end game too. Just kind of flex. I thought it'd be a really fun challenge, and I accomplished that. And I don't think anyone realized I was part of that alliance until the very end of the game. So I appreciate y'all being here and listening to me, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Oh, it's my turn now,
Okay,
right?
you, Ned. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, let's start off by saying I came into this game really trying to get voted out because I had this game that I wanted to play where I wanted to play a very dramatic game, but I was not going to play a game where I hid behind people. That's just not the game I play. And from what I heard from orgs, people are super savvy, and they wouldn't put up with the usual bullshit that I put out there. I'm gonna show you my strategy straight to your face. I'm gonna make big moves right out of the gate, and I'm gonna try to control the game as long as I can. And then when the game slips from my hands, because eventually people are gonna start targeting me, I'll have allies to feed me the information I need to take out the right people at the right times towards the end of the game, even if looks like I don't have power. And that's exactly what I did. While Ned thinks he has power, I knew he was a super loyal person, and that was his persona. And I didn't have to do anything towards the end of the game, man. Fucking, he just took out all the people for me, all the people that I wanted out. But whenever there was a plan that needed to be executed, any super hard plans, that's where I came in. Ultimately. I mean, realistically, I took out some of the biggest players this season. I took out Rory, took out Chris. I mean, I flipped Rodrigo to take out Cam. I don't know. I mean, Ned never started playing his game till Final 8. I was playing from day one. And I think that's where the game. I mean, you need to be playing hard from the beginning. The reason why no one ever saw Ned as a threat is because no one saw that Ned was there. You know, you got to grab the game by the balls from the beginning, and I was playing hard from the beginning. And I'll answer any questions you want. I kind of just wing this speech right off the top of my head. Not really good at speeches, so yeah, fuck it. Let's go on to speeches. Can't think of much else off the top of my head.
All right, thank you, Rob. So now we'll turn it to the jurors one at a time. You will get the opportunity to question the final two in the order you guys would like to go in. And if I remember correctly, Steven said he wanted to go first.
Yes.
All right, the floor is yours.
Do I have a certain amount of time?
I've been doing 10 minutes for the past seasons because one jury speech went for half an hour once, and that was not a fun time.
All right, just let me know when my time's up.
All right, you may begin when you're ready.
All right, hi guys. I'd like to preface this by saying that when Julian said both jurors are on, I had to go, wait, Ned's on? Where's Ned? I don't know what he looks like. So I figured it out now. So my first question to both of you is the same. And I'm glad I got to go first to ask this question. Starting with Ned, I want you to tell me what was Bobby's perception on jury. So when we were on jury, what do we think we thought of Bobby? And then I'll ask Bobby the same question about you.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I'm sorry I never video called with you. I honestly didn't really video call with anyone. So the first time Emma and Bobby saw me was at the final immunity challenge. So it's not just you, I promise. I just don't really like video calling. But what I imagine the perception of Bobby on the jury is honestly, I probably think that y'all thought he was this enormous like mastermind the entire game, because that's what the part he played at Tribal, and that's honestly what I probably think y'all think of him. If that's wrong, then that's awesome for me, because I feel like I had a lot bigger part in things than people give me credit for. But that's just not the style I played. I didn't put my game out there for y'all to see, and that's what I'm hoping this final Tribal is for.
All right, thank you. All right, Bobby, what do you think Ned's perception on jury was? What did we think of Ned?
Oh, I thought you guys thought he was a complete dumbass. Absolutely. I mean, all season long, you're telling him not to take the biggest threat to the end. And what does he do at Final 6? He goes along with my plan to get rid of Rodrigo. My plan to get rid of Rodrigo, who would have never beat him in the end. I mean, for someone that's controlling the game, it seems a little weird that he would get rid of someone who's perceived as the biggest threat versus someone who's perceived as the biggest goat. So yeah, my perception of Ned is that he was kind of just playing a goaty game. I think that's the perception I got from the jury.
I'm not going to say
Not
whether
saying
you're wrong
that,
or right.
Ned, I'm just saying that's my perception.
I'm not going to say whether you're wrong or right. Okay. So Ned.
Yeah.
Right, Bobby says you're seen as an idiot.
Yeah.
And that you're seen as voting out the wrong people.
Yeah.
And you've yourself said that Bobby has played a big game. He's played a boisterous game. People know who he is. He's played loud. He's played obvious. What you've played under the radar.
Right.
But you've got to remember that you're playing for a jury.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we want
to
and we want to we're looking at every move you've made.
For sure.
You've made.
Do you want me to explain that? Like, can I have a rebuttal to something Bobby just said?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting to a question.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So knowing that, and knowing I told you when you voted out Rodrigo and stuff, I told you I'm gonna have trouble voting for you at Final Tribal Council.
Yeah.
If you go with Ned or Emma. All right. I'm not saying my decisions changed or not changed. Once again, So knowing that and knowing what I said to you, how do you personally justify not making a move towards the end?
Not making a move against Bobby or Emma.
Not making a move. So not just making a move against Bob and Emma, not making a move in general. As in, like, a move that the jury would look at and go,
Okay.
wow. Like, somebody outside of the game would go, wow, that's a big move.
So I guess that's your perception. But Bobby just said that the Rodrigo move was his idea, and that's basically what he's done all game. After Tribal, he's like, that was my idea. But, like, that's almost never been the case. The Rodrigo move, I told you that idea. I came to you and Emma that before either of you spoke to me. I could literally read receipts if you want me to. I brought up that idea to both of them, and I don't know if they thought about it first, but I was not told about that ahead of time. I was the one who had the relationship with Rodrigo in the first place. I was the one who convinced him to vote Rob so we could pull off a 3-2-1. I honestly believe, yeah, that's what happened. And that's how it happened. You said you weren't going to lie at Final Tribal, so I'd appreciate it if you stuck to your word.
Yeah, Bob, can you be quiet while Ned's answering this question?
Thank you. I made lots of moves. Steven, your vote was my idea. They don't want to vote out Blake, but I knew that you had a much greater chance of winning the next immunity challenge. You had won multiple immunity challenges, and that was a much bigger threat with Blake. That's the reason I voted you out. It was going to be Blake until I decided it wasn't going to be. Like, that's literally just Final 6 and Final 5. Like, if you want me to go before that, I can. I can explain every move I made since the beginning of the merge, because honestly, most of them were my moves.
There is one I want to talk about in a later question, but for now I want to respond to what you just said.
For sure.
So you said that you made this move to, like, vote out Rodrigo. You caused it to be 3-2-1 and all that.
Yeah.
But Rob, on the other hand, he talked to us and he got us me and Blake to vote Emma.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he had me pretty sold. Like, at that point, I didn't trust anything that came out of either of your three mouths, and Rodrigo.
Okay.
All right, but something I've always said about Rob, and this is moving into Rob's question, is you're a good storyteller. All right? He got me during the Chris vote to believe this massive tale about Nick the monster coming into merge. How are we going to get out Nick? How are we going to get out Nick? Do we want to keep Chris so we can help us get out Nick? What's going on there? To the point where I came into merge already buying that story, which was a mistake on my part, obviously. So, Nick, what do you think the story is now here? What's the story of this one, Trump Council?
Wait, are you talking to me?
Oh, Nick, sorry. Bobby.
Oh, okay. I was like, man. Well, I think the story of this tribal council is people are trying to find a justified way to vote for Ned, but no. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let him take credit for moves he did not have a hand in. Sorry, Ned. Yeah. You didn't pull off the Rodrigo. I told you exactly how I was going to pull it off, and I told you how it was going to be done.
Focus.
And it happened exactly how I said. If you would like me to pull off the 3-2-1 thing you pitched out, which was incredibly stupid and would have gotten me out, I could pull that up. Because it involved, like, telling Steven a lie about Rodrigo and then, like, getting him to flip on Rodrigo. And then we get Steven to vote Rodrigo, like, as if that would ever happen. No. I can pull it up.
Yeah, I actually have the receipts right here.
You have the list that you sent me.
We were bouncing ideas off each other. The initial thing I said, you said, so basically we're screwed. And I said, the two of them vote M. We get Rodrigo to vote either you or me. Then you, me, and Emma vote Rodrigo. And you said
Wrong.
exactly.
Wrong. Here's your receipt from 7:14
Are we reading the exact
PM?
same thing?
No. It says me, you, and Steven vote Rodrigo. Rod and Blake vote Emma. And Emma votes Ned. That is
we're
completely
bouncing
dumb.
ideas off each other.
Made no sense.
Anyway.
Made no sense.
Anyway.
Would have cost us everything. And you're telling me that was your move, and yet it happened the way I said it happened.
Bobby, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right. Just FYI, make sure you answer a question instead of just attacking each other.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. All right, moving back to Ned. All right.
Yep.
So there was one other big move that, and when I talk about big moves, I'm talking about like big choices in the game that I attribute to you, and that's when you told Bobby about the idol. Correct?
To play his idol?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now, once again, you said earlier on in your opening statement that you plan to bring Bobby to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, like you could have turned the votes over to make sure Bobby still had majority.
Yeah,
But
I definitely
instead,
could have.
Yeah, but instead
That
you
was
got voted to play as idol.
Yeah,
So I want you to explain that choice to me. Because I can
for sure.
give you what I think of that move, but I want to hear from you.
Okay, yeah. So at the very beginning of the merge, when I created the alliance with Emma and Bobby, I told Julian, I said, "Hey, Julian, this is your final three. You heard it here first." Kind of just from my ego, I wanted that to come true. I wanted to show that I was gonna have the control to be able to pull that off. I see you looking at me, Grace, and I'm sorry. I'll get to you when it's your turn. But for the Nick vote, I wanted Nick gone. After the Michael vote, I wanted all the people who betrayed me on that vote to go home. So I made a confessional. I said, first, Cam's going home, then Nick's going home, then Grace, then Rodrigo. And that's how it panned out. For the Nick vote, the reason I voted with y'all against Rob and told him to play his idol is because, one, I get y'all's trust. Y'all think that I am voting with you and voting against Rob. And then so I know what the plan is for the double tribal, so I can make sure it's not me or any of the people I plan on going to the final three with. Secondly, I wanted the idol gone because the more idols in the game, the more paranoia, the more likely I was going to get targeted as a contingency plan. That's always what happens. Like in Survivor, if there's a big threat and there's a possibility of an idol, they target his allies. I didn't want that to happen to me. So I wanted to flush the idol. I wanted Nick gone, and I wanted y'all to know I was with y'all. This honestly was not in Bobby's best interest. Like, he could have had me vote with y'all to just vote out Nick and keep his idol for safekeeping. Like, honestly, this is probably not best for him, but this is what was best for me, and I made that move.
All right. So just telling from my perspective of that, I never trusted. As soon as Robbie played his idol, I'm like, oh, Ned's working with him really closely.
Okay.
Although I tried to work with you on like other votes, I was already going like, God, Ned's a slimy snake. But there's what other choice do I have?
Exactly.
But also, you say it's not to Bobby's benefit, but you just handed Bobby playing an idol correctly going into Final Tribal Council.
Because I knew I'd be able to
explain. You changed the move that was very obviously your move into what looked very obviously Bobby's move. Playing an idol correctly and voting out Nick, somebody who's wanted out for a while. So that's just what I'm saying. I get what you're saying, that it is your move, that you did tell him for a reason. And you flushed the idol, which was great. Like, that is legitimately a good choice. But I'm just not sure. Like, you're telling us this now.
Yeah.
But I just wish we'd seen more of this calculation from you towards the final six.
Yeah,
like, after the final six, I feel like you just kind of went, and that's how we do it. Done.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could have shown more. But ultimately, the game I had to play was one of stealth, and that meant not outing myself as a big player. I wanted people to think that they could use me as a vote and keep me along, and that's ultimately it benefited me. I'm here.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like a Goats game. If you're going to be an assassin, you need to actually be able to attack at the end. But the assassin hides in the bushes and then jumps out and attacks somebody. Sorry, that came off a bit harsh. Like, yeah, I do admit you've played a good game. I just need, like, I just want to make sure you get every chance to show the thought out part of your game.
Thank you for letting me do that, because
I
Bobby, sorry?
can I add something to that final 9 vote? Because Ned made it sound like it didn't benefit my game when it absolutely had all the benefits to my game. Because he basically was like, no, we should, I should vote you, so it makes it look like I'm against you. I'm like, you know what? This is perfect, because realistically speaking, if Ned is with you guys, there's a chance that he can wing the vote onto someone else on the next vote. And, with the skull charm and then everyone on my side sucking in immunity, rocks wouldn't be in our favor next time. And then it worked out perfectly because Zach didn't even vote me next time. So I was able to play it up like Zach with Zach, like, oh no, Ned flipped. It's going to be 4-4. What are we going to do? And Zach probably would never have flipped had Ned not done that. So I think of everything
trying to take
ahead of
credit
time.
for what I did, as always.
Don't even say as always. I will drag your ass to the depths of hell.
Okay.
I'm
Alright,
giving
Bobby, I
you.
have
I'm
one
giving
last
you
question
this
for you.
one.
do.
I'm giving you.
I've got one last question.
No,
for
no,
you.
no. I'm giving you this one. I'm giving you this one. But if you try to take credit for my moves, you will be dragged.
Okay, same goes for
Alright,
you.
You're
Bobby,
the
I've got one
dragon,
last
fucking
question for
dragon,
you.
Bobby. Like,
Okay.
One
Because
last question.
Callum
I'm
was
sorry
not
for
your
taking a
move.
while.
Callum was not your fucking
I
move.
wasn't gonna claim Callum
Hey,
was
Bobby.
fine.
Quiet. No. All right. Let me
Alright.
ask my final question. You have all the final trouble council to rage. Okay. My last question to you is that you have said that Ned has played a GOAT game, just sort of walking with you to the end. But you must admit that you have done something similar in that you've gone with Ned to the end, just louder. All right? So I want you to explain to me the same question I've been asking of Ned, which is when you got to final 6, why did you make the choice to stick with those 3 that you had gone with and not go, I'm going to change things up and show people that I'm not just a one-trick pony? All right?
Let's see. Well, for one, you and Blake had a really good shot at beating me at Final Tribal, and there was only a few votes that I could nick towards my side in that scenario. And I knew neither one of you wanted me at Final Tribal, and I sucked at challenges, so that I wasn't going to take you guys further. Rodrigo eventually wanted to betray me because he wanted to cement himself as a big player. And I got that information tipped off from Ned, which, like I said, people will tip me off on the information all game. I got that information tipped off. He eventually wanted to use Blake to get me out. And, it kind of got confirmed that Rodrigo was planning on taking me out really soon. So, Emma and Ned, I mean, like, it was a no-brainer to stick with them. So I needed to come up with any plan that I could to save the 3 of us. Even if that meant, like, telling you and Blake a lie, kind of like drilling into your guys' head the last couple days before that vote that they were going to cut me for 4th. I needed to do anything I could to save those 2 because I knew their personality. I had built up this camaraderie where it's like, yeah, we're going to make final 3. They're only saying I'm a threat because, I'm just loud and boisterous. I haven't done anything strategic, and, they were buying it the whole fucking time, and
We weren't buying it.
Anyway,
I don't
Ned,
know.
last question to you.
Thinking
Ned, last question to you. So Bobby's been saying that you're leaking information to him.
Yeah.
I want you to give me an example of when you had information that would have benefited Bobby and you did not give it to him.
Okay, yeah. So Bobby was also giving information to me. I mean, that's how an alliance works. Like, we're telling each other things like that.
Sometimes.
I was telling him things, he was telling me things. I mean, we had a final 3 alliance. I mean, I'm not gonna not tell him things that would help us in this immediate vote. There were a lot of things I didn't tell him. Most specifically, I had an incredibly tight alliance with Grace that I don't think Bobby or Emma know about now. Like, they know I had better relationship with Grace than I did with Blake, but they didn't know that Grace and I actually called very frequently. We had this very elaborate game plan that honestly should have worked out. And then, yeah. I also had an incredibly tight alliance with Rodrigo, and I was the one who flipped him for the Cam vote. He wanted me to recruit Callum to vote out Cam, I don't know why he thought that would work, but it was me who pulled Rodrigo in after Rodrigo betrayed me at the Michael vote. I got Rodrigo as a loyal number, and Rodrigo didn't flip on me the entire time. I was the one who was getting information from Rodrigo. I was the one getting information from everyone. I knew where every single vote was going at every single tribal after the merge, and I didn't share most of that information with them.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you after the vote.
Thanks, Steven.
Yeah.
I already knew you had a tight alliance with Grace and Rodrigo. You already told me that.
You did
All right,
not.
thank you, Stephen.
I didn't mention it.
Whoever wants,
I didn't mention
whoever
it.
wants to jump in next, feel free.
You can lie.
Can I go
I
next?
will.
Give it a chance? Oh.
No. All right, do you want to go next? I'm good. I'm just driving.
Zach, be safe.
All right, Blake, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with Bobby. Bobby, for once in your life, I would appreciate if you would tone down the ego and actually not talk unless you're being instructed to talk. Because all season long, during every single tribal, you've interrupted every single person's questioning. Every single person, when they were trying to answer a question, you interrupted them. And it would be just nice if you would give somebody the respect to be able to ask you a question without getting interrupted. Thank you. So my first question to you is, why would you take Ned to the end when Ned was actually kind of liked by the jury? And no offense to Emma, but Emma was not very favored by the jury. So you both of you have baffled me several different times in this game. But I want to know why you would have taken Ned to the end when he was more favored by the jury.
I didn't see that at all. All I saw all season was people saying Ned is making stupid moves by keeping me around. There was multiple instances where he forgave Emma for her, well, I guess you could say, words towards you, those mean words and all that. But I knew Emma was a much better speech giver than me, and she would mostly stand by the moves that she felt like she made and everything. And I felt like Emma was just a lot more liked, personality-wise. Ned, to me, I mean, I don't, you know what? I'm going to be a little harsh. Had the personality of a brick. So I assumed heading into Final Tribal that I would have a better shot against Ned than Emma.
Okay, and then my next question is, why did you never try to expand outside of your alliance and actually, like, I get that people were targeting you, but that's because all of us didn't really feel like you were trying to make those game connections with us. So I want to know why you didn't ever expand out of your tight-knit group of people to try to make something bigger happen.
Truth be told, I did try talking to you and Grace, but we had the worst work schedules. Like, you would be able to talk as soon as I'd be heading to work and shit. I tried calling you sometimes. I did just kind of stop it with Grace, but I had nothing in common with Callum, and it was already too down the merge to talk to Cam. He was already gone. Other than you guys, I talked to just about everybody else, but yeah, I tried talking to you, Blake, and Grace at one point in time, or a few points in time. I just never got the chance to.
Okay. That's all I really had for you, so now you can go on mute if you would like. So
I
can
will.
talk to
I'll
Ned.
be a little humble. Fine.
Ned, before you voted me out at the Final Four, you told me I have ran this merge. Every single move in this merge was my idea. But if we take a trip down memory lane, let's take a trip, shall we? Cam, what kind of a move was Cam? Cam was not the most active person in this game. No offense, Cam, because you know I love you. But what did Cam do in this game? Next, Callum. 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 I repeat, Callum. Okay. Next, Nick. I can see Nick being somewhat of a move, but he was still in the minority. So, a move? A move? Do we need to go look at what a move in the Survivor Dictionary means? Then a move finally was made. The only move this merge. Let's remind everybody, the only move this merge. That was taken out of the game, which, oh my, I was flabbergasted because in the most predictable merge I've ever been a part of, a move was finally made. And then we go back to being so fucking predictable for the rest of the season. So in a merge that you controlled and you made every single move, like you told me, those words came out of your mouth. I don't see any moves that were made. In fact, whenever those people in the minority did try to make a move with you, you would just go rat them out to your 3-person group or more people. And in reality, you put the horse on the ground and you beat it dead. You rubbed salt in the wound. When people tried to work with you, all you did was rat them out. All you did was take it back to your people. When you had chances to make real moves in this game, not just predictable ass, small ass moves, you didn't take the opportunity to do any of them. And for that reason, I really do not know if I can vote for you tonight. I can listen to what you have to say, but for somebody that controlled the merge and it was that easily done, like those easy moves were taken the whole entire time, don't know if I can vote for that person. I don't know if I want that person to be the winner of my season. So I don't have anything. I don't have any questions. I don't have anything to ask you,
Can I respond to that?
I guess.
Okay, thank you. Blake, I have to say I was not looking forward to your speech, and you did not disappoint. So thank you for that. I just want to start by saying that like those were moves that were being made, and I mean I'm sorry, but just because you were not included in them does not mean nothing happened. That's just how the game works. Sometimes you are in on the vote, sometimes you're not, and that the game can happen even if you're not in the majority. Um, and even though it may have looked from like a boring merge to you, honestly, most of the best games in history of Survivor have been very boring games. Look at Boston Rob's game. That was an incredibly boring merge. Look at Kim Spradlin's game. Incredibly boring. Look at Dominic and Wendell. It was incredibly boring. Those were all horrible seasons, but that was good gameplay. Like, they played well. They didn't make moves that they didn't need to make. Like, I'm sitting in the end because I made moves that I needed to make to benefit my game. And while it may have been more exciting to maybe vote out Zach first or vote out Bobby and Emma first, like, I don't think I would be here if I had done that. Like, this is the game I had to play to make it to the end, and I saw that, and I capitalized on those moves. Like, I voted Cam out because he was the one person that I felt like I could not work with going forward. I was open to working with you, with Grace, with Rodrigo, with Stack, with Steven, with all of those people. I was completely open to working with you. But Cam, after leaving me out of the Michael vote, I made an effort multiple times to reach out with him. He didn't give me the time of day. I knew he wasn't going to work with me going forward, so he had to go. Callum, it's just a number. I didn't want Zach and Steven to flip because I knew they were going to eventually. I didn't want them to do it soon, so I took out an option for them to do that. And note, a lot of this was like stifled because of the skull charm. Like, they really limited our options, so we played around the game and this twist, and that's the moves we had to make. Nick, you said you understood. Zach, honestly, like, I think that was the best move at the time too, because Zach is an incredibly powerful player. He had a lot of sway, and what I wanted going forward was predictability, and Zach was not a predictable person. Like, I knew he was considering flipping, and I knew he could probably consider doing that later on. So that was a variable that I didn't really want because I had a game plan going forward, and I didn't want anything to get in the way of that. And also, his immunity wins were also a big threat, so I had to take that into consideration. I hope I've explained, like, all those moves, like, they may have been boring, and I'm sorry that it was not the most, like, exciting, dynamic merge, but, like, honestly, those easy moves were the moves that I had to make to get to the end, and that's the kind of gameplay that I had to play.
I would
Thank
like to reiterate that I don't think anybody got mad at you for not voting out Rob early merge, because I literally came to you and I said, I understand. But when you get down to the final 5, down to the final 4, you need to prove to the jury why you deserve to win the game. And you continuing to take the easy way out by taking Bobby further. I don't know if that really
I
shows
took the route that would get me to the final two.
I don't know if that really shows the jury why you deserve to win. I think that if you would have split up Bobby and Emma at Final Four, that would have showed a big move on your part. Actually, going to fire for me would have been a big move on your part. But instead, you decided to go with them again. So I don't really want to hear the woe is me when the jury is so harsh on you today, because you put yourself in that situation.
I know it would have been a big move. I don't think it was the smartest move. And for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Blake, is that all then? All right, whoever wants to hop in next, feel free.
Can I go next?
Am I good? Oh,
Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, Zach, you can go. Go ahead, Zach.
oh, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Okay,
All right, Zach, the floor is yours.
awesome. I'm gonna ask you two to remain on mute the entire time while I talk, unless I ask you a question. And this isn't a dig at anyone, but I don't like being interrupted by anyone. Hello? Oh my god. Fuck. Can y'all still hear me?
Yep.
We can still hear you.
So my phone just told me that it needs to cool down. So it.
It wouldn't be Zach without his cutting in and out.
I can go
What
while
is
Zach
driving?
gets his shit figured out.
Yeah, let's let Emma go, and we'll come back to Zach.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the same thing, but like y'all remain on mute unless I ask you a specific question. My first question is for Bobby, and I want to know, because my vote is not decided at all. I want to know why I should vote for you when you turned your back on me in the final three.
Because that's the name of the game. You vote out the people who you're going to have the hardest time beating in the end. You saying you're great at speeches and shit, that's not good for me in the end. That's not good for me at all. I've talked to Ned. I knew he was nervous coming in. You really stood by a lot of the moves you made all season. Ned kind of just seemed like he was winging everything. So, I mean, like, betraying you, it's nothing personal, but it's a game at the end of the day. And I was willing to cut anybody I felt threatened by to get to the final two.
Okay, and I have a question for Ned now. There's been a lot of talk like amongst the jury about how you manipulated everybody into making the moves that you want to make. I don't know what the deal is with you and Grace, but she's clearly been very hurt by you. And I know that there are several other people on the jury who feel personally hurt. And how are you trying to recover those votes? Like why do you think they should still vote for you?
Yeah. Honestly, that has been the hardest part of this game. Like I genuinely in real life, like I am an extremely honest person, and it truly, like, I'm not just saying this, like, it truly does like hurt me knowing that I'm lying to people. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping everyone can remember that it's a game and that they would have done the same to me. For Grace personally, that move, like Grace, I just want to say that move was not my plan. I wanted Steven to go home that round. The reason it ended up being you is because it was the double tribal, and so in case it was I wasn't going to be there for the double tribal because I had work in the morning, so I was asleep. In case it was a double tribal, we had to submit a vote and then a backup vote. So I submitted Steven as my vote, and Rodrigo would not vote Blake, and we needed to keep Rodrigo in a type 4. he said it has to be Grace. And so I said, okay, I'll just put her down as a backup. It's not going to happen. And then I woke up and you were gone and I didn't have any time to explain it to you. And I'm sorry for that. And yeah, Emma, sorry I got sidetracked from your question. But yeah, I know I have probably hurt a lot of people's feelings because I did form those relationships with people. And those are genuine relationships. And it was very hard for me to break those. But I played the game I had to play to get here, and none of the final three would have been the same if I hadn't like cultivated those relationships and then made those moves when I had to. And like to everyone who's hurt by that, I'm really sorry for that, and I'm hoping that we can continue our friendships after this game. And I'm hoping that you're able to understand that those were purely game moves and nothing against you as people. So.
And I have a question for both of you. What do you think has been your biggest move this season? Like, if you could only claim one move as your big move, what would you claim?
Absolutely, I'd claim Cam's vote. It flipped basically the game into the direction that our basically side controlled the game. Had it flipped into the other direction, the final two would probably be like Nick and Grace, Blake and Grace, something of that combination. So I'll absolutely claim the merge move.
I guess I'll do a rebuttal to that. Because before this, we were talking about moves that we could claim, and I thought that you even told me that Cam was a vote that like I could claim. So I guess I'd say the same thing, the merge vote, and also to another extent the Nick vote, because that catapulted our games to the end. It allowed me to have inroads with the other alliance, so I could have ears on all sides of the game.
Bobby, I have said this several times in the jury, and I do really strongly personally believe that you would not be sitting where you were if it weren't for me and Ned, because you didn't do hardly any legwork on any of the votes, quite frankly. It was me and Ned talking to people, and it was me and Ned polling votes. You just threw out names and ideas. And so I guess, Ned, do you have anything to say about that in terms of how your game was stronger than Bobby's? And Bobby, do a rebuttal to that.
Yeah, Emma, you and I talked about this a lot in the game. And I would agree with you. Like, you and I were the people doing most of the work. Like, we were the brawn behind all the operations, and in a lot of the cases, we were the brains behind it too. Bobby likes to talk big at Tribal, but in the end, like, if you actually look back and see what happened, like, he was not the one who made the magic happen. Like, big mouth does not correlate to getting things done.
Wow, Ned, that shows how little you actually knew about my fucking game. You had nothing to do with the Cam vote. You were basically non-existent. I flipped
That was
Rodrigo.
my idea.
I flipped Rodrigo. No, actually, if you remember correctly, what did I say? I said, we're not going to strong arm Rodrigo. We're going to give him this vote, and we're going to ask him who he wants gone. Rodrigo picked Cam, and I got him to...
You wanted Callum on our side and not Rodrigo. I was the one who got Rodrigo.
I'm sorry. I'm the one that went and talked to Rodrigo. So I don't know.
Who's in our PMs?
And anytime that you guys... No, anytime that... Hold on, this is my question. I was muted for yours, so you can shut up now.
Okay.
Okay. Anytime you guys didn't know what to do, I would tell you to go talk to someone about it. So don't sit here and act like you guys were these brains behind the operation. I mean, really, Ned, really think about all the moves that you supposedly made. I definitely made Cam and Callum. Those were my moves. Those were absolutely, if you're going to lie. Oh, see, now you're just lying out your ass. Cam and Callum are absolutely my moves. I'll let you take the Nick one. I'm going to give Zach to Blake because all you were doing was talking about... No, you even told me they want to vote Zach. I asked you, are they gunning for me? You're like, nope, they're gunning for Zach. And Blake wasn't even going to target me first. He was going to target Zach. Grace, getting rid of one of your strongest allies for me. Not a very smart plan, by the way. That's Rodrigo's. Not yours either. Rodrigo's boot. That's mine. Again. So, I mean, what do you want to claim? Steven? Have it. I mean, yeah, you made some good points. Blake sucked at competitions and Steven didn't. Wow. Really good points there, Ned. Really, really great points. And then you fell for what I said on Blake being a bigger threat than me, and you got rid of Blake. I mean, name these huge moves that you made, Ned. And I want you to explain them too. I mean, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see these huge moves that you apparently made all season. I'll be listening because this is complete crap, man.
I mean, I've literally gone through the list and explained all those moves you just claimed, and I mean, I'm not going to talk anymore because I've literally already explained those. You can try to say they're yours, but we literally discussed this, and I honestly, as a person, don't appreciate you turning on that. That, honestly, beyond gameplay, that's just kind of crappy. So, appreciate it.
I never gave you the cam vote when we were handing out. See, this is how bad your memory is. When we were handing out claims and everything, who was Cam's claim? If you go back through the messages, it was Emma's. Because I needed to throw her something to make her want to go with us to the end. I mean, we had all the claims, and it was like, Emma, she did a lot of talking in the merge vote. Let's just give her Cam's.
But
never gave that one to you.
All this talk about claiming votes is stupid.
Can I interrupt, please?
They're not things to divide
Can I interrupt,
up.
please?
Yeah.
My vote has been decided. Somebody else can go.
Okay, can my phone not shit on me now? Okay, cool.
Zach, are you able to go now?
Do what?
Are you wanting to go now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Cool. Sorry. I'm gonna try to not sound obnoxious when I talk about this because I know I have an issue with that. God, Bobby, get off your high horse, please. I love you, dude, but all I'm asking you is to treat at least Ned with respect. Whether or not you believe it, you deserve to give him some respect because if he was not there, you wouldn't have gotten to the end. And I could say the same for Ned. Y'all both got each other to the end, so all I'm asking is for you to treat each other with a little bit of respect. That aside, Ned, show some personality, please. All game, it seems like you haven't necessarily given that much interest in a lot of people, myself included. And that was stupid that I thought you were, that I had, sorry, words. That was stupid that I thought that I had a hand in deciding what you would do. That was my biggest mistake in the entire game. And so, hearing both of y'all repeatedly talk about what moves y'all are claiming, how y'all deserve to win, what you're controlling and everything, I want to hear what y'all think is the worst move that y'all made and why you should not win. Bobby, you go first.
Worst move I made. Let's go back through it. Worst move. I mean, I guess you could say on paper, going along and just voting you out was probably a bad move on my part because I don't think you would have gotten rid of me in the double, and we had a really strong bond. So I guess you could say that was rather stupid to just get rid of you when you masked me as a target. Because many people, Zach, found you to be a bigger threat than me. So it would have been smarter to try and keep you. And I didn't I didn't push for that. You know, when I probably should have, and I could have probably did a lot better in the game than I did. So that would probably be the worst mistake I made. Yeah.
All right, Ned, you're good to go.
I think that's kind of funny because you actually talked to me about trying to get Bobby out at the final 7. But I would say my worst move was probably the final 7 vote. Like I should have stood up for myself. Like getting rid of Grace instead of Blake was not in my best interest at all. Yep, I know you agree with me, Grace. But like the reason we did that is because we were so scared of, because Rodrigo was an extremely like emotional player, and leaving him out of something like that or not letting him have a say and something like that was really going to bite us. And like next was the final 6, and if it tied, like going to Rocks was not an option. So we needed to have Rodrigo as a 4th vote going into that, so we could take out Steven, hopefully, was the goal. But ultimately that didn't happen, and Grace went home, and I didn't expect it. I thought Steven was going to go home, but I probably should have fought harder for her to stay and for Blake to be the backup plan. And at the very least, I probably should have told her. I just didn't. It was going to be hard for me, and I didn't want to even think about that being a possibility when I went to bed. So, yeah. Thanks, Doug.
Okay, so Ned, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Where do I live?
You live in Texas?
What part of Texas?
I don't remember, but I know you go to school in Texas, and we were thinking about driving. You're only a couple hours away from me.
Okay, cool.
I know we have a mutual friend, Andrew.
Fuck, I had another thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah, okay. So I had an issue about what Blake was talking about earlier, about how Ned, you weren't like, didn't make any like big moves or whatever. You didn't get out any people that were like worth your game or progressed your game, like made a name for yourself for the jury. Honestly, I feel like your entire game made yourself a name for the entire jury. I feel like you should win basically off that. You don't need a big personality to make huge moves. You don't need to make huge moves to win the game. And honestly, I disagree with you saying that getting rid of Grace was your worst move. Honestly, I feel like that was a great move on your part, because Grace, honestly, you would have won against a lot of people in the jury, and I genuinely believe you would have won against Ned. Bobby, you make all this huge stink about claiming Ned. You claimed Cam and Callum. Fantastic. 2 people that weren't even a part of the game. Like, good for you. You got 2 inactives out. And an inactive with an idol. I mean, woo! And I guess I'm really glad to hear that you didn't claim, unless I've been mistaken and didn't hear this part, I'm really glad to hear that you did not claim Chris's vote, because I genuinely believe that I was the reason why Chris went home. And even if so, even if you want to make the argument that I did not ensure Chris went home, you could say that Blake also had a hand in it, even though he didn't vote for Chris. Because Blake is one of the many reasons why I did not like Chris at all, and why I went so gung-ho for him. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I wanted to talk about, because I just love hearing my voice. No, I'm not that conceited. I'm just really high. At at the moment, I'm good. But, Bobby, treat others with respect and you might have my vote.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. So with that, we'll move on. We have two jurors still here that have yet to go, Cam and Grace. Or
Cam,
did someone
you
else
can
just show up?
Cam, you can go first. I would love to go next.
Grace waiting to come in clutch,
man.
bitch.
First of all, I love that everybody's just bashing my game here. Like, I didn't know, but it's all good. And for my part, from what I was told, it was mostly Emma who made the move to get rid of me. And you're both claiming it as your biggest move, which I find funny. And when neither of you really tried to talk to me that much, well, Ned, at least in pre-jury, but you guys didn't really try. And again with Emma, she took my question. So there's that. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go with the basic ass question of why you think each of you deserve to win, and I'll go with Ned first because he at least tried to talk to me a bit.
Yeah, Cam. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on your head. After the Nikita vote, I was completely open to working with you, and I, when I made those offers, I was totally genuine. I just didn't feel like you were interested either. And then after the Michael vote, it kind of cemented I don't know if this is a relationship that's going to carry me forward in the game, and that could have been accurate, could have been inaccurate. But that's the reason I wanted to vote you out for that.
Can I say something first?
Yeah, for sure.
It was because you were both saying my name. Obviously, I'm gonna freaking make the move, try to get rid of Michael when you're both saying my name.
Right.
So, really, how
That's fair.
would I trust that when... Okay, you can go again. I'm just loving this.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's totally fair. And the reason I was trying to vote you instead of Michael is because, I felt like I just didn't have as much relationship with you as everyone else, and that could have been on me. But I do understand where you're coming from, and that's valid. Yeah. So I think, honestly, I think I've played a good game. I may not have talked about it as much as tribal. That's because I'm at work at every tribal or I'm asleep 2 a.m. But yeah, I never had a single vote against me that counted. I tied the individual immunity record. I created the final 3 alliance at the beginning of the merge, and I carried all the way to the end just to show that I could. I played my cards close to my chest. I had a relationship with everyone, and although that might end up biting me because I did vote you all out, those were real to me. I honestly, I'm with you. I think it's stupid trying to claim moves. Obviously, every person in the game had an effect on every move, and honestly, if you're part of the game, you contribute to it in some way. But yeah, I made big moves. I didn't boast about them after, but people who've worked with me know what I did, and yeah, I played the double agent role, and that's the role I had to play, and I got information. And basically, none of the entire merge would have been possible if it weren't for the gameplay I played. Yeah, so I kept my name out of the spotlight, and that was my goal, just to work behind the scenes, let the Wizard of Oz do all the talking while I was the man behind the curtain the entire time. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. All right, Rob, you can go.
Didn't know the man behind the curtain also made the moves. Weird. No. No, I deserve to win the game because despite what Ned thinks, if it wasn't for me, this game would be completely different. I feel like I played a head and shoulders really strong game from the start, building relationships with people like Michael, with Ned. I built a relationship later with Emma. Later down the line, I built relationships with Blake that had basically saved my ass in the final six. Just because I showed up to every tribal council with booze in hand doesn't mean I was just a boisterous loudmouth all season. I did a lot of talking behind the scenes myself. A lot of the game I had to play was in plain sight. That's the game I've always played, and it's always worked out for me. It's better to know the enemy you know versus the enemy you don't know. And that's the game I played. Anytime I pitched a move out there, for the most part, it was received well because the move made sense. There's a lot of moments in the season where they wanted to strong arm Rodrigo, and I told them, no, we're not going to strong arm Rodrigo because Rodrigo is rather an emotional player. We strong arm him, and guess what's going to happen? He's going to flip. You have to basically cater to his emotions. So I think that realistically, the moves speak for itself. The reason why I should win is because I was able to keep the people that I was with in the positions they needed to be in until they basically needed to go. And anybody that, how do I word that correctly? I'm not good with words. How do I word that? No, but basically, like, how do you word that? Fuck. Ugh. How do you word that? Fuck. Right. Okay, no, basically, it would have been smarter for, say, like Ned and Emma to get rid of me around Final 5, Final 4. But because of my relationship with them, they didn't. Okay. And this is me being perceived as a huge threat. So being able to build and capitalize on relationships and make necessary moves for my game. Obviously, I'm not going to clean sweep every move in the game. There wasn't a single idiot this season. So it's not, you can't make every single move your own. But yeah, basically just I should win because I dictated a lot of votes and I was able to sway people in certain directions despite being perceived as the biggest threat all season.
All right. I'm just going to end there because I'm really curious for what Grace has to say.
I'm not.
Oh my God, Grace is about to come in with the boom boom pow.
I'm interested.
Oh, there she is.
Cam done? Can't wait for this shit. Cool. So it's my turn. Brilliant. All right. So I was sitting here listening to the both of y'all talking this whole time. And I have my question is for both of you. It's a joint one. At first it was originally going to be for one of you, but now it's a joint one. So both of you guys were very pressed that I voted Michael out, apparently, because I heard what I got from Nick was that Bobby did not want to work with me because I voted Michael out, and Ned has me on his hit list because I took Michael out. So my question is, why were you guys closed off on that subject? When I feel in my eyes, I had every right to take Michael out because y'all had an alliance at the beginning of the OG Camden that Grace, me, myself, I, and Grace was not a part of, and I feel Michael had to go. So why?
Never said closed off from you. I just told Nick I was closed off from him. And you were kind of jointed in with him, so he probably perceived it as if I was jointed off with you. I didn't play emotionally. That was all a game move. for my game. I mean, you saw it the next vote when I flipped it from Nick to Callum. I very much did want to work with you, so I don't know what he's smoking over there, but yeah, no. I wasn't emotional over that move. That was the move that I needed to bond the people I needed over to my side. And I knew that Ned was on the outs, and I knew that if I could pitch this evil Nick story, I mean, I'm sorry, you got lumped in with Nick, so if I could pitch the evil Nick story of betrayal and how he betrayed people, then I could easily lump in a nice 6 group of people. And so, I mean, sorry if it got perceived that way, but
Yeah. So honestly, like I told you this after the Michael vote, but I wasn't super tight with Michael. Like I had conversations with him and I was working with him, yeah, but we weren't like a ride or die or anything that everyone seemed to think we were. But the main reason that I was like frustrated after the vote is that it wasn't because no one told me, because like I understood, but at the same time, like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, I didn't have an idol. There was literally nothing I could do to save Michael. I just wanted to feel like I was included in something. And then after that vote, no one approached me. I had to approach people to figure out what went on. And Grace and Rodrigo, I appreciate y'all actually talking about that with me. Like, that's why I was able to build bonds with y'all. I really appreciated that. But yeah, it wasn't the fact that Michael went home. It was the fact that I wasn't included in that. And like going forward, that's not what I wanted in a super tight alliance. Like if people could do that to me, like leave me out of something that important, I didn't think they were going to have like my back in every situation in game, which is why I created that alliance with Bobby and Emma, because I felt that they would.
Okay. So, all right. My next question is, so now I'm on an individual. So, Bobby, this is my question to you. So, me and you didn't work together this whole merge. So, what drove you to be interested in working with me? Why would you, I'm trying to think how to word this. So, the only time you seemed interested in approaching me is when I had power. Why did you think that was a good idea?
because I was already talking to too many people. Part of my strategy was to talk to the heads of power on the opposing side so I'd know where votes were going. It seemed like for the longest time that Nick was doing a lot of the legwork, which is why I was talking to Nick a lot. And then when Nick left, it kind of seemed like Blake and Steven were doing a lot of the legwork. So, I mean, I know it sounds hurtful, but it's it's the truth. I didn't see there being a reason to talk strategy with you because I felt like you were just already too loyal to Blake and Steven. I felt like I would have been talking to a wall. You would have stuck with them regardless of what I said.
Okay. So, all right. So, Ned, I have several stuff for you. So, my first thing is, so we as a jury, we would sit here and talk about your game. And we discovered through those conversations that not only myself thought we had a final 2 deal going, we had Zach talking about it, we had Rodrigo talking about it, and people talking about these final 2 deals that you had with these people. And we're like, okay, you have Emma and Bobby in this game. So my question to you is, how did you think that was going to benefit your jury management? Because hun, I had your back. Like, I wanted to take you so far. I really did. But when I found out you were you want to know something? In that jury for a bit, I was even accusing, because I thought you literally had my back. I was even accusing Steven for voting me out. I had to think about it until the Rodrigo tribal. Julian asked him a question about the double tribal, and he made a comment like, oh, the vote didn't go my way last round. He made something like that. I was like, I'm sorry, excuse you. Can you hold on, let me rewind this 15 seconds. Can you please repeat that, Steven? Please repeat that for me. And he said it, and I was like, hold up. And I put the pieces together. I'm like, oh my God, you're the one who put me on the top of your hit list. So yeah, it left me hurt. That it left me shook, left me hurt that I saw that. So that's where my question is stemming from. How did you think that was going to benefit your jury management?
Yeah, Grace. I totally know where you're coming from, and I knew that like after that went down, when I saw in the morning that you got voted out, I was like, this is not going to go over well. She's gonna like hate my guts, and I honestly hated that I couldn't talk to you after that because I really wanted to explain what happened. Like honestly, like this is being completely legit. Talking to you, like having our like late night strategy conversations was honestly probably like the highlight of this game. It was so fun because we would just like make these like schemes and stuff, and like truly I would have loved for them to work out, but I know like 100% if you were sitting here instead of Bobby, if it was you and me, you would win hands down. Like you are such a likable person. You have so many friends, like especially like the jury, like everyone loves you. Like I haven't heard a single bad thing about you. Like I would have no shot like in heck against you. So I mean, ultimately, it got me here. It's not what I wanted. Like voting you out was not what I wanted, and I did have that relationship and that alliance with you. And as far as like the other final two deals, apparently I had. I guess I wasn't aware of them. I mean, Zach did approach me about final two, but like before that, I hadn't had that much like in-depth like strategy conversation with him. Like we had talked a lot. We knew a lot about each other personally, and that was super fun. But I couldn't tell if he was saying that just like get me on his side temporarily. Like I didn't know how legit that was. And with Rodrigo, I did have a really good relationship with him too, because we had played in a previous game before, and I really enjoyed that with him. And like I knew that a consequence of making these relationships, and then because I knew I'd have to break most of them, I knew that would end up like being hard for me and those other people. But ultimately, like I played the game, and I'm also super happy that I got to meet y'all because that is like the reason I play them. So I mean I hope that explains. I know it probably doesn't make it better. I know you're probably still mad at me, and I'm sorry for that. Like if I could go back and explain everything, I promise I would. But I hope that gives you a little more insight.
Okay, so my next thing for you is that if you didn't want me out that tribal and you were going to turn on me, when were you planning on taking me out of this game? Had I not gone?
Honestly, I wanted to keep my options open. My ideal plan, like what I really wanted to happen, was the final five be Bobby, Emma, Grace, and Rodrigo and me, because I felt like I had really solid relationships with all of those people. And then no matter like who won immunity or like who had Skull Charm, if that still existed, I wanted to protect myself based on that. I didn't know. Like honestly, I would have been fine with going with you to final two. I would have been fine with that because like I went with final two to Bobby, because I like going to the end with my allies and people I consider my friends. So honestly, Grace, I promise I did not have like, oh, I'm gonna take Grace to like final five and then like vote her out. Like I didn't have anything malicious like that planned. It was honestly keep my options open, go with the flow, see what needs to happen. So does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask too. That little scheme plan that when me and you were doing our late night scheme.
That was so fun.
Late night scheming.
Yeah.
So the plan, you were gonna try and take Bobby out at like final 7 or something like that. I was gonna ask you if all your schemes were real with me or not.
Okay, so I was trying to manage this like final three I had with Bobby and Emma, and I was trying to manage this secret alliance I had with you without anyone finding out about the other people. So when we talked about that plan, I think the plan was final 7. We were going to, it was you, me, Emma, and Rodrigo. We're going to come together and take out, I think it was Zach, right?
No, it was like Bob. We were going to take.
Was
We
it
were going
Bobby?
to take a shot at Bobby. I
Okay.
remember that, and then we're going to take care of Zach and Steven later.
Right. Okay. Yeah. If we had gotten to that point, I would have gone with it because, but just the way the game panned out with like people winning immunity, people having skull charms, we had to make other moves, take other people out, and ultimately at that point, it like wasn't feasible. Like it didn't pan out like we had hoped. You know, like I don't think Emma and Rodrigo would have come together with us two to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was completely legit. Like, I wrote a confessional, super excited about it. Like, we were gonna make things happen, and I'm really regretful that like it didn't pan out. But it was really fun, and I hope you had fun scheming too.
I did. I even did a whole video confessional. I was like, ah, so like the Southern Tide. I'm so excited for this secret alliance. Oh my God, we're going
so
far
hyped up.
together. We doing this, and then I get voted out at 7. So that is a real fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not the plan. But things happen that are out of my control. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I did have a question for both of you, but I think that was already answered. Who is the most responsible for my boot? And it seems like it was a Rodrigo thing, and Ned had nothing to do with it, and Bobby played a part in it. So, and then I guess my final question for both of you is that if you could pick any, and this is just, I always ask these weird questions. If you could pick anyone in this jury to be sitting next to you instead of each other, who would you choose? Who would you choose?
I mean, like, without any repercussions of how I got the person there.
But any repercussions? Yeah, without any. If you could pick one jury member, yeah, like if you feel in your heart, who would you want to sit next to rather than the other person if you had to trade someone off?
Oh, easily Rodrigo.
I would say Rodrigo too, not because I thought I could beat him, but because we formed a relationship in the other game we played, and I ended up voting him out, and I would like to make it up to him somehow. So that would probably be fine.
All right. I think that's all my petty ass has for you. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Grace. So now we're going to move into the closing statements, and I think Ned started with opening speeches, so that means Rob will start with the closing ones.
Oh, shit.
Go ahead, Rob.
All right. What? What'd you say?
So we're gonna do closing statements, and then the remaining jurors will vote, and I'll read the votes right here because the last 3 people that still need to vote are on call right now.
Nick's on call?
I meant what I said, and I said what I meant.
Oh, okay. I hate y'all. I know I get perceived as a super douchey, arrogant, dick, which I am. I'm not going to deny that. But I think my game speaks for itself. My horrible, my horrible answers different, but I think my game should speak for itself. Ned's been trying to claim a lot of moves that he never made. I will give him that. He's been a lot more humble than me, because I'm sorry, I'm not necessarily a very humble person. I feel like I made the necessary connections. I was a huge threat early on, and I think it's a lot harder to play the game and make moves being a huge threat than it is this guy playing the double agent, taking out people he doesn't need to take out at all, had no benefit to his game. I think it was a lot better on my part. Form the necessary connections, flip the necessary people at the right times. And I mean, I guess not much else to say. Like, shit. Yeah,
All right,
Jules.
Ned.
All right. Yeah, I thank y'all for listening to me. It's been a fun season, and I'm really appreciative of all the relationships I've been able to form with y'all. I know Bobby's tried to downplay my game, but I mean, yeah, it's a competition. We have to do that to each other. Bobby, love you. It's been a super fun game. And honestly, I kind of see my game kind of the trajectory that Natalie Anderson's took in season 29. With Michael being my Jeremy. After Michael was taken out, I was like, okay, these people are here to play. Like, I need to be here to play too. So at that point, I revved up my engines. I put it into gear 4, and I didn't stop until now. I think I have a pretty solid resume. I never had a single vote count against me the entire game. I tied the individual immunity record. I created a Final 3 alliance at the beginning of the merge and declared that it was going to be the Final 3 and made it happen. I played a double agent, which I know Bobby said it was easy, but playing a double agent is the most risky role you have in the game, because if anyone finds out what you're doing, you are dead. Like, they will cut your throat. I set out to play like a silent assassin. I took out the targets I needed to take out to get here. I formed relationships with people that are genuine. The only person to target me the entire game went home that tribal. I found an idol, and I was in this trio that no one knew was a trio until they were voted out. Everyone thought it was a duo between Bobby and Emma, but I was able to separate myself from that and make myself not a target, even though I was making all these moves. So, Bobby, I don't know if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, but the man behind the curtain actually was the one controlling things. He was the one making the face appear as big and strong as it actually was. So, thank you all for your time. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm honestly terrified of speaking in front of people, so I appreciate you all for giving me this time. Thank you, Julian, for making this such a fun game and just being an awesome host. Love y'all, and may the best player win.
I was your Jeremy.
All right. Thank you, guys. It has been a wonderful season, but it is time for the results. I am still missing one jury vote, so please send that in ASAP, and I will record them right now, and I will reveal them in just a few minutes.
Hey, Julian.
Yes, Blake?
Can I ask a quick question real quick? Because I need to know something before I cast my vote.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ned, you said that you didn't really make a lot of final 2s in the game. While we didn't necessarily have a final 2, we did agree that we wanted to go to the end of the game together. So I just didn't know if you forgot about a lot of the deals you made, or if it was like you just weren't genuine about it.
Honestly, like, to be honest, a lot of people approach me with deals, and if I'm approached with an offer to work together with someone, like, I didn't think it was best to strategically or socially to be like, sorry, I already have a final 3 with someone. Like, with the game I was playing where I was trying to hide how big of a threat I was, like, I didn't think that was going to fly. And so I agreed to work with people, and honestly, like, I had a relationship with every person on the jury, and like I knew obviously it wasn't possible to have a final 11. So the relationships I made with everyone were real, but ultimately I knew that not all of them were going to pan out, and I wasn't going to be able to sit in the final 2 with every single person, as much as I would love that.
Okay, Blake, you can vote now.
Bitch, I'm heading there. I'm walking up to the voting booth.
Final 2, say something nice about each other.
Give me a minute. I will record the votes. I'll be right back.
That's
Blake,
a nice
please come
guy.
to the diary room. There's no need to sit down.
Bitch!
Bobby,
No.
are you mad at me?
What?
Are you mad at me?
Well, I think you have Alzheimer's and need to get that checked out. But other than that, I mean, like, no, you're a pretty cool guy.
Okay. That hurts.
Sorry, it just seems like you've been getting a lot of the moves that you've been trying to claim. It's like
I
as if your
said say
memories.
something nice.
I think a lot of people in this game, finalists and jury included, need to untwist their panties a little bit. It's a game.
Yeah, agreed.
Dude, I was so mad about that fucking final 2.
What?